If you're a leader in HR and don't understand or can't articulate the strategy of your company that you work for, you're doing something wrong. You can't be successful in your role if you don't know why your company's in business, where it came from, and where it's going.
Don't conduct your analysis in isolation because data is so incredibly powerful.
Not defending just the tribe, but defending the organization.
Those creative people that you really want to keep empowered, keep excited, keep motivated, keep thinking.
A good experience pays dividends down the line.
Stereotypes tend to break down in proximity.
Welcome to We're Only Human, a podcast about human resources, business, technology, and the workplace. My name is Ben Eubanks, your host, and I'm so glad you're here.
Hey everyone, it's Ben Eubanks, host of We're Only Human, and I'm really glad you're here with us today. We're going to be talking about how to use recognition and appreciation to connect our people and our culture with the business growth and the things we're trying to accomplish there. I am so excited because we're going to be replaying a conversation that I recently had with Alli Ford over on HR Summer School. So some of you know about Summer School. It's our annual event we do. You can learn more at hrsummerschool.org. And we host these incredible speakers and leaders from across the HR space to talk about and give you tips and advice and recommendations, but also encouragement and inspiration. And so Alli and I get into both of those pieces of this, talking about some of the things that are important for us to know. And so we're going to go through, share some tips, some snippets and pieces like that. And I want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Goody because they're the ones who put us together with Alli. I appreciate them for helping to make that connection every time. They always bring us one of their amazing customers who's doing good work in the space, has a great story to tell, and Alli is no exception. So thank you to the Goody team. You can learn about how to use their service to support employees, to support key clients, and all of those kinds of things across the spectrum on goody.com/business. We'll get you there and you can get a free goodie to give out to someone and see how it works on goody.com/business. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into this fun conversation with Alli and hear what she and her team are up to. Hey, everyone. Welcome to HR Summer School. We are going through some great sessions, great speakers, great content so far. And I'm really excited to be here with Alli Ford. We're going to be talking about how we can use recognition, how we can use tools like that to connect with our culture, to support our people, to really create a vibrant environment where people can thrive at work. So, Alli, so glad you're here. Welcome.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here, Ben.
Absolutely. So before we get into some of the fun stuff we're going to be kicking around today in our conversation, would you take a minute and tell the audience more about who you are and what you do, please?
Sure. Well, as you mentioned, I'm Alli Ford. I'm the VP of HR for Assembly Software. I've been with Assembly for a little over 2.5 years now, going on 3 years. And we are a software as a service company in the legal field. So our customers are lawyers, basically. Lawyers tend to not be very tech savvy, if I can say that. They're a little cloud adverse, if you will. Yeah. So we really want to work hard at leveraging those customers that are, and we have been doing that. Then they are fully embracing new technology, including AI, which we're releasing this week. And we're leveraging them to serve as really role models and references for those more reluctant firms that we have.
Interesting. So what does Alli like to do when she's not at work?
Well, I have 3 kids and a husband and a dog. And we have a boat and it's getting to be boating season. So family and outdoors and just living every day presently as much as I can.
All right. Hey, plenty of kids over here as well. So I think everybody that's around you, oh yeah, when we start tallying those things up, you're like, there's not a lot of extra free time to go around. And we do spend it together as a family, all good. Okay, wonderful. So one of the things that you talked about there that sort of tied into this is Assembly services and supports employers that are generally more conservative, right? Lawyers and attorneys are not known for being big adopters of technology. They're not known for being like super innovative and creative in a lot of things. But there are some ones you've even highlighted there that are some of your customers that are doing a good job of that. What does the culture look like at Assembly as a software company that serves those types of organizations? What does that look like?
Well, that's an interesting question. I will say we do have a very mixed segment of customers, if you will. I learned recently as I was interviewing and speaking to some candidates for different roles that had gone to law school, that they're actually starting to teach students about technology for law firms. So I do feel that is changing as we move forward, which I think we'll see more firms adopt this type of technology, which is great. But our culture at Assembly is incredible and something we're all very proud of here. We just completed our 2024 engagement survey, and I don't know if any of you out there use a measurement tool called an employee NPS. I know most software companies are familiar with an NPS score, but our eNPS is 107, which is really high and very rare to achieve. And it's something, again, we're all really proud of. We're a completely virtual company here. We have been for quite some time, really. We're two companies that merged together from two different locations, and we have a pretty distributed workforce anyway, but when COVID hit, it just got more so. So we really do need to leverage technology, be completely transparent with our metrics, and to make everyone feel united and we're all under the same roof at an office. And I think we do a really good job of that. And because our metrics are so transparent, because we're a company of 150 employees and not 10,000 employees, there's really no place you can hide here. Your work is visible. And because of that, we want to make sure it's also rewarded and recognized as well to keep that encouragement going.
You mentioned the combination of the merger of two different companies. Mm-hmm. I can imagine a lot of people listening into this out there in the audience that have been through one of those M&A actions or two different companies coming together, whatever, that sometimes the employee NPS, the sentiment after that would not be quite so high. Anything specific that you could say, like we could point back to, we did a really good job of communicating, repairing people, like those sorts of things, anything that you can point back to that would signify that? Because that's just not common that you hear in a company that's gone through something that can be like traumatic for people, that they're not sure about, what am I a job, or am I going to be safe after this, whatever else. Any thoughts there?
That's fair. And we just started measuring this. This is our second year in a row. And we went up from 72 last year, which was still quite high. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure if we measured that at the time we came together, I don't have that data, but I'm sure it wouldn't be as high as it is today. But with that said, I do still feel like we did a really great job bringing the two companies together. They were two on-prem legal case management software companies before, and the two leaders knew each other. They were friends with one another. They weren't fierce competitors because they had all the lawyers were their customers. They were in different segments. So really blending the two companies together broadened our customer base. And the two leaders had a great respect for one another and folded into our company quite nicely. One of the leaders from Needles is still with us. He is a VP for our company. He handles all of our customer training and recordings and any kind of automated training we have. He puts that content together and records it. Mm-hmm. He's an excellent communicator and leader and well-respected in our company. And quite honestly, a lot of the people that worked for both Needles and Trial Work still work for us and have that legacy knowledge that's invaluable. And I think because we value that and respect that, it makes them feel valued and respected, obviously, in return.
Thank you for going back a little bit, because again, we hear a story of a company. I think I'm titling this session like an off the charts employee experience. And that's what I first heard of when I heard you throw that NPS score out. The eNPS score was like, that's off the charts. Most companies couldn't even imagine that. And so I wanted you to show that that wasn't a magical overnight fairy dust moment. That was a lot of hard work, a lot of connection from our leadership, making sure that we're intentional about this. All those things led to where you are today. So I wanted to make sure we tapped on that. So thank you. So what are some of the challenges, some of the big priorities that you and the team are focusing on solving these days?
Well, as far as our leadership team and just an overall company goal, just to tie into merging those two technology companies, being on-prem, we want to migrate as many on-prem customers over to our cloud solution as we can. Obviously, that's something that's a priority. We don't want to support those tools indefinitely, right? So getting those more tech-adverse, cloud-adverse customers to come over to the cloud is key to a lot of what we're trying to do. And I mentioned earlier as well, we're launching our AI tool into our platform just this week. And unlike our competitors, our tool is built into our platform, where other companies have to leave the platform to use the AI tool. So it's going to be game changing for the legal field to have this tool.
I'm hearing you talk about these sides of the business, and it's kind of fun for me because so many times we hear HR leaders say, well, goodness, I wish I could be taken seriously. I wish my voice counted in those conversations. And you have this grasp of how you compete, where your company's going, some of those kind of big things. How do you see HR and some of the things that we can touch and support in our work tying into some of those big directions the company's going in? Like, I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong here, it ties into the kinds of people you're hiring. You need people that understand AI, for example. It ties into how you're developing and training people. It ties into some of those kinds of things. What do you attribute that to? And how do you think that HR piece of the work you're doing as an HR leader ties in with some of the other big strategic directions that the company's going?
Well, those are all great questions that you're asking. If you're a leader in HR and don't understand or can't articulate the strategy of your company that you work for, you're doing something wrong. You can't be successful in your role if you don't know why your company's in business, where it came from, and where it's going. You can't hire, to your point, you can't hire the best people that are going to fit and grow well with your company. You can't support challenges that, or even have an understanding of challenges your employees might be facing to be able to support them in the right ways. So I feel like maybe this is a silly statement, but in a lot of ways, HR is the glue to everything. I mean, it touches every part of the company. And it really, there's such an ability to have great influence in this role when you truly understand the strategy and can help support that in every way.
I don't think it's a silly statement at all. I think the audience probably will resonate well with them to be reminded that we have this unique touch into different areas of the business. And like, I kind of make the joke sometimes, listen, I love our friends in finance. I love our friends in marketing and other parts of the business, but they don't have a chance to touch people's lives and to connect with the business strategy, those individuals and the skills and the strengths they bring in the same kind of way, right? We see the motivation someone has, like we know this person is here and wants to be there on the org chart. Like, how do we help influence that and guide them in that direction, give them input and give them training? Like, we get the opportunity to have a front row seat there, not just doing some of the, again, not to pick on our friends across the aisle, but just we have a chance to do that and have that impact in a special kind of way. And that always excites me to hear that.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So
makes being in HR quite rewarding.
It does. Yes. Again, we deal with, let's call it the less fun stuff too. Okay. We have days that we're like, I can't wait for the day to be over. But we also have the other side where we get to see the impact. And I sort of liken it to my wife, who's a teacher for 10 years in the elementary space, where she's like, that moment when the kid gets it and you see the light bulb come on, like, oh, I understand it. That is what I live for. And I feel like the same thing for us. We get a chance to live for those moments where we connect the people with the business strategy and it leads to the best outcomes for every single party involved there. Okay. So one of the things that we have not talked about yet. So our friends at Goody helped to connect us and made the introduction. And I appreciate them for doing that because I've already enjoyed our conversation so far. How does Assembly use Goody to help connect with your people, to help support and serve them? How does that tie into this culture piece, all that good stuff?
Sure. I'm happy to share about that. I mentioned we use technology to keep us connected here at Assembly, and Goody is one of those pieces of technology that enables us to do that. One of the ways we support the culture that we have is by recognizing and rewarding our employees, right? And we do this all the time, really, in a lot of different ways. So we have a monthly shout out program. That's a peer-to-peer shout out. So anyone in the company at any time can nominate an employee for demonstrating a core value. They do this through technology, through our HR tool, Rippling. And we have the ability for managers to recognize just outstanding performance at any given time as well. We recognize birthdays, work anniversaries. We create custom Goody stores. So we might be running, for example, a certain, I guess you could call it an internal promotion. We'll call it that. But say we're trying to achieve a certain goal of so many migrations. So right now we have something internally called our Migration Olympics for our product and migrations team, right? And we created different tiers. And in those tiers, we created custom stores. And every quarter, there are winners, right? So we're able to constantly dangle that carrot, if you will, to keep people motivated and engaged in the goals that we're trying to achieve. And that Goody platform integrates with our HR tool, so it makes everything super scalable and efficient. So if we hire a new person in Rippling, they're automatically in Goody. If we part ways with an employee, that updates as well. All of the birthdays are in there, work anniversaries. You can auto gift and set up things automatically when people are onboarded or for a birthday. So you can almost just set things up and they take care of themselves for you once you get all the stores and if you have swag or you want to do certain things throughout the year, you can get that all set up. And then marketing leverages the tool as well. So our marketing team uses different swag stores for prospects or for just customers that have given referrals, things of that nature.
I'm thinking about this. Oftentimes when I think about recognition, we think about like the birthdays and the service awards and those things like that are fixed in time. But I like this combination of that piece of it. That's sort of a, hey, we remembered We do. We got you. It's happy birthday. Here's your thing. But also, we're trying to drive this key behavior. And right now, this is important to us as an organization. So we're going to remind you of that by putting some things in place that drive those behaviors with incentives and so on. So I think that's really a good call out there, that it's not just one or the other, but both of them come together. And it helps us to, thank goodness you're not using 3 or 4 tools to do this, using one tool that helps you to make all those kinds of recognition moments matter for every one of your people. And it works, as you said, you're a distributed virtual company. It's not like you have to be in the office to make this happen. I used to have the bucket of gift cards in the corner of my office that when someone else won one, I'm like, oh gosh, now I got to mail it. I got to get that was a pain. So thank goodness for those kind of things. Make it really simple, really easy to do. What sort of response do you get from the workforce, whether it's just overall or around some of those kind of things like trying to drive certain behaviors? Do they latch onto that? Do they look forward to that? Is it driving those key behaviors you're looking for?
It is. And everybody likes different things, right? And like you had mentioned, we did the same thing for new hires. We had all these physical gift baskets or whatever you want to call it, and had to store them and sending them out. And that was just such a pain. And we don't have to do that anymore, thankfully. But there was also something just very impersonal about just sending a Visa gift card too, or an Amazon gift card. I have a drawer full of gift cards. I don't know about you, but like after a while, it seems impersonal. Now, you can send something really nice to someone that gets it all handed. Again, being the size company we have, I know Jane might really love yoga, and I know Bob really might like traveling. So I can send something more geared toward what they like, and they can exchange it for something else if they want, even if they do end up getting a gift card or whatever that might be. But the thought is personalized, right? So, and then if they do want to exchange it, there's so many options of gifts that they can look for that they can get for themselves. And the other thing I like about it too is there's something for everyone that you want, but you wouldn't necessarily get for yourself, but it feels really special and really nice. So we've got a lot of positive feedback from people about the different offerings on the Goodie platform and just our use of it in general.
So I'm going to put you on the spot. If Alli was getting a Goodie, what would Alli want to use it for?
I like all kinds of wellness and workout type of things.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
You had an answer. Okay. You had an answer ready to go. I was good. All right. I was thinking, I don't know. Some people are like, it's all about the coffee. It's all about but I've received a Goodie as well from someone else. And I had fun kind of going through, like, I don't care anything about those things, but this stuff really appeals to me. So that was fun to me to go through there. Tremendous. So as we're sort of getting close to wrapping up here, you have a bunch of your friends out here who are also doing the good and hard work of HR every single day. Any last words of wisdom, closing advice, anything that you would call out if they want to also have an incredible culture like Assembly Software?
Well, I think it all comes down to trusting your employees. I think people want to be trusted. It feels good to be trusted. And we hire people that we trust, right? We don't hire someone because we think we can't trust them. So I think we want to remember that. And we can't micromanage. We want to keep people engaged and excited. And we don't want to tell them how to make the sausage. It stifles ideas, right? So I think people want to do a good job. And I think when HR remembers that and rewards that and recognizes that, it proliferates and people feel good and people want other people to feel good. People feel proud of their work. And it just creates a great culture. If we're around looking at our back or questioning someone else or not sure if we can trust someone or micromanaging, that's not a good culture. I think we can all say we've worked in those cultures. I don't want any part of that. No. And we don't want any part of that at Assembly. So trust your people and recognize and reward them, and they'll be loyal to you and they'll work hard.
That reminds me of one of our partners that we've had to speak with us in the past. She's a CHRO at Baylor University. And one of the things that she says is, listen, your people are going to talk about you at the dinner table. And you may think, well, no, they don't. Yes, they will. And they'll either say good things or they'll say bad things, but they are going to talk about you with their family at the dinner table. And we get to influence what that is. Us, the managers that work with us, all those kinds of things. So that's my reminder out there. And that's kind of the thing that I tied back to for what you're sharing there. If they're the company, they shut down another one of my good ideas today as well. Like, I didn't get a chance to speak up. My voice doesn't matter. that gets tiring and people don't stick around, especially the ones with the creative ideas that want to bring those forward. We stifle that and they'll move on to somewhere else who will listen. So tremendous. Alli, one of the things that you told me before is that you called yourself the feedback queen. How do you think, like we always often think as HR about getting feedback from others in the business, but how do we get feedback on how things are going from the workforce? What are some ways that you think we can do that?
Well, I've woven this into our business, day-to-day business. And it's actually a core value to create a culture of feedback that we have at Ascend. Okay. So right from that get-go, being one of our core values, and we live that through a lot of different ways. We have an anonymous suggestion box through our HR tool. We remind people of that. We have different surveys. So when we promote someone from within, or we have a brand new hire in a leadership role, we do 30, 60, 90-day feedback from their team. With our one-on-ones, that's all through our HR tool, our performance reviews. We do 360. We do training in the company. We do training about leadership and trust and creating a culture of feedback and different ways of doing that. And learning that we all can't be perfect and we all can't live in a vacuum either and think we're doing great without asking other people around us as well. So I love getting feedback. When I do one-on-ones with my employees, not only am I checking in with them, but I'm asking them how I'm doing. How am I doing for you? And what can I be doing differently? And just making that a regular thing. It's a conversation, continual. And then obviously when you get feedback, acting on it. If you don't do anything with it, then it's no good. People will stop giving you feedback after a while if you're not going to listen to it. So.
Yeah, we all learned that one, I think, in intro to psychology class. When you don't act on a behavior, it becomes extinct after a while. And that's one behavior we don't want them to stop doing. We want them to keep giving us input, giving us feedback. Sometimes it may not be pleasant in the moment, but if it's a helpful piece of advice or input that's going to help shape the future of the company or future product direction, like I always remind leaders, like, listen, all feedback isn't a negative thing. It could be an employee saying, I've got an idea. Can I share this? Would that be okay? And we have to be receptive to all kinds of feedback, not just the ones that we're kind of worried about, but every bit of them. So wonderful. Thank you. So I've gotten so much encouragement from this. I've really appreciated the conversation. If someone wants to connect with you, Alli, learn more about what you're up to, hear about any of your other ideas or ask you questions about how you're using Goody and other things, are you okay if they connect with you on LinkedIn?
Of course. I look forward to that.
All right. Perfect. I hope you enjoyed the conversation today with Alli. We got into some good stuff around how to use this as a way to connect with people, how to use this as a way to build stronger and deeper recognition of our people and make sure that they're aligned with the direction of the business overall. Really appreciate her for joining us. Appreciate the Goody team for connecting with us here. If you, again, have not ever experienced or participated in HR Summer School, you can do that completely for free. Happens every single year. We're still offering that for free for 7.5 HRCI and SHRM credits. That's right, for free. You can learn more at hrsummerschool.org. Thank you again for joining us here on We're Only Human, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you so much for joining me on the show today. I'm honored to have you as a listener. If you enjoyed this episode, please take 10 seconds to rate it at iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, if you know a friend that could benefit from today's conversation, please pass it their way. After all, a rising tide lifts all ships. To see show notes, sponsor information, and our full show archives, visit onlyhumanshow.com.